You're about to learn something that will make every conversation with women 10 times easier because there are 4 types of women and each one responds to a completely different approach. I call them colors: red, blue, yellow, and green. And once you can spot which one she is in the first 60 seconds, you'll know exactly what to say, how fast to move, and what makes her actually want to chase you. Now, this isn't theory, because after studying hundreds of interactions and breaking down what actually works, I found a pattern that changes everything. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to read any woman's type and speak directly to what makes her feel attraction. But if this clicks for you, do hit subscribe and drop a comment with the color you see most. I'm really curious what you're running into. But here's what you need to understand first, because most guys think they're bad at talking to women. They're not. They're just using the same approach on every woman they meet, and that's the problem. What works on a red will bore a blue, and what excites a yellow will overwhelm a green. You've been speaking one language to 4 different women and then wondering why it only works sometimes. So let me show you exactly what each type needs, starting with the one most guys get completely wrong: the reds. Reds are the women who move fast, they're high energy and direct, they make decisions in seconds, and they want you to keep up. When you meet a red, she's not interested in deep conversation about your childhood or slow-burning emotional connection. She wants to know if you're confident enough to match her pace. But most guys screw it up. They think matching her energy means trying to impress her, so they start qualifying themselves. They explain why they're interesting and list their achievements. They talk about their job, their hobbies, their opinions on everything. But with every word, they're losing her, because a red doesn't want you to prove yourself. She wants you to challenge her. Picture this. She tells you she just got back from a trip to Thailand. Your instinct screams, "Oh, that's amazing. I've always wanted to go there. What was your favorite part?" Seems normal, right? But watch what just happened. You gave her validation before she earned it. You showed interest before she worked for yours. She mentioned one thing and you lit up like a Christmas tree. So now she knows. You're already sold. The chase is over. Therefore, she's bored. A red needs to feel like she's winning you over, not like you're handing yourself to her on a silver platter. So here's what you do instead. She mentions Thailand. You pause for half a second. Then you say something like, "Thailand, okay. Bangkok, or did you actually leave the tourist trail?" Watch her reaction. She'll either get defensive and try to prove she's not basic, or she'll laugh and own it. Either way, you just made her work for your approval. You made her prove something to you. That's the language a red understands. This is based on research from Robert Cialdini's work on influence and scarcity. When something feels easy to get, it loses value. But when someone has to earn it, they want it more. But here's the tension most guys don't see coming. If you're too challenging with a red, she'll think you're playing games and she'll walk. If you're not challenging enough, she'll think you're weak and she'll walk. So where's the line? It's simpler than you think. You challenge her choices, not her worth. You question her taste, not her value. You make her explain why she likes something, but you never make her feel judged. That's the difference between the guy she chases and the guy she ghosts. But let's talk about blues, because this is where most confident guys completely fall apart. The blues. Blues are the opposite of reds. They're calm, thoughtful, and they process everything through emotion. They don't make fast decisions about people. They need to feel safe before they feel attracted. So when you walk up to a blue with the same energy you'd use on a red, playful, teasing, high energy, you're done before you start. She doesn't see confidence, she sees chaos, and her brain shuts down. But here's what's actually happening inside her head. A blue woman is running a completely different program than a red. She's not asking, "Is this guy exciting?" She's asking, "Does this guy see me?" And most guys fail that test in the first 20 seconds because they're performing instead of connecting. They're trying to be impressive when she just wants them to be present. I watched this happen at a friend's party last year. A guy approached this woman who was standing alone by the bookshelf, quiet, observing, classic blue. He came in hot with a joke about the host's terrible music taste. She smiled politely, but her body language went cold. He kept pushing. More jokes, more energy. She left 5 minutes later. He thought she wasn't interested in anyone, but I talked to her after. She was interested, just not in that approach. So what does a blue actually need? Depth. Not immediately. Don't walk up and start asking about her childhood trauma, but she needs to feel like you're paying attention to details other guys miss. She mentions she's reading a specific book. Most guys say, "Oh cool, what's it about?" and move on. But a blue wants you to actually care. So you ask why she picked that book, what made her start it, whether it's living up to what she hoped. These aren't interview questions if you're genuinely curious. They're signals that you see her as a person, not a target. And for a blue, that's everything. But here's where it gets tricky. Blues test you differently than reds. A red tests whether you'll chase. A blue tests whether you'll stay. She'll give you something real, a story, a fear, a genuine thought, and then she watches what you do with it. If you brush past it and redirect to something surface level, she knows you're not safe. If you acknowledge it and build on it, she opens up more. This is the same pattern researchers found when studying long-term relationship formation. Emotional safety comes before physical attraction for certain personality types. Blues are wired that way. But here's the mistake. Guys think being deep with a blue means being serious, so they kill all the fun. They turn the conversation into therapy. They get so focused on showing emotional intelligence that they forget to create any tension. Therefore, she feels comfortable but not attracted. You became her emotional support friend, not someone she wants to sleep with. So you need both. You need depth and you need edge. You ask her real questions, but you don't let her live in her head forever. You pull her into the moment. You make her laugh. You challenge her when she's overthinking. That balance, present but playful, deep but not drowning. That's what makes a blue feel both safe and excited. And by the way, if you want to get even better at reading what women are actually thinking versus what they're saying, I just put together everything I've learned into a book called The Truth Detector. It breaks down exactly how to know if she's genuinely interested, if she's using you for attention, or if she's playing games. First link in the description if you need it. But back to this. The yellows. Now yellows are different entirely. If reds move fast and blues move deep, yellows move wide. They're social, expressive. They light up a room and they want you to light up with them. A yellow woman doesn't care if you're the smartest guy in the room or the most mysterious. She cares if you're fun to be around, if you make her feel good, if being with you is better than being without you. So, the guys who do well with yellows aren't necessarily the most attractive or successful. They're the ones who match her energy and make everything feel like an adventure. But here's what that actually looks like. You're talking to a yellow and she tells you about her weekend. Most guys nod and say, "Sounds fun," and then talk about their own weekend. But a yellow doesn't want you to just acknowledge her story. She wants you to jump into it with her. So when she says she went to this new brunch spot with her friends, you don't just say, "Oh cool, how was it?" You lean in. You ask what she ordered. You make a joke about bottomless mimosas being a dangerous game. You ask if her friends are the type to show up on time or keep everyone waiting. You turn her story into a shared moment instead of a report she's delivering to you. But here's the trap guys fall into with yellows. They think because she's expressive and social, she's easy. So they get lazy. They stop putting in effort because she's already smiling and laughing and giving them attention. Big mistake. A yellow gives everyone energy. That's just how she moves through the world. So if you think her laughing at your jokes means she's into you, you're misreading the signal. What makes a yellow actually feel attraction isn't that you made her laugh. It's that you made her feel like the main character in her own story when she's with you. Let me break that down. Yellows are used to entertaining other people. They're the ones bringing energy to every room. So when a guy comes along who flips that dynamic, who makes her feel like she's the star instead of the performer, that's when something shifts. You do this by celebrating the specific things that make her different. She tells you about a weird hobby she has. Most guys say, "That's random," or "interesting." You say, "Wait, that's actually sick. How do you even get into that?" And you mean it. You're not trying to impress her by being impressed. You're genuinely curious about what makes her tick. And for a yellow, that's rare. But here's what no one tells you about yellows. They're insecure about being seen as shallow. Everyone assumes because they're social and fun that there's nothing deeper going on. So if you only engage with her surface level personality, she'll keep you at surface level forever. You need to show her you see past the performance. At some point in the conversation, you call out something real. Maybe she's telling a story and you notice her tone shifts when she mentions someone. You say, "Wait, you actually care about that person, don't you?" Not as an accusation, as an observation. And watch what happens. She drops the performance for a second. She gets real. And that's the moment you went from entertaining her to actually connecting with her. But greens are the ones most guys don't even recognize as a type. The greens. Greens are steady, calm. They don't need constant stimulation or deep emotional connection or social celebration. They just want someone who's easy to be around. No drama, no games, no pressure. A green woman will decide if she likes you based on whether being with you feels better than being alone. And for a green, being alone is pretty good. So you're competing with her peace, not with other guys. But here's what kills your chances with a green: trying too hard. If you come in with high energy, you're exhausting. If you come in trying to create deep, emotional moments, you're overwhelming. If you're constantly trying to make her laugh or impress her, you're annoying. Greens don't want a performance. They want consistency. They want to feel like you're not going to suddenly switch up and become someone else. So the best thing you can do with a green is just be normal. And I know that sounds boring, but boring works on greens when flashy fails everywhere else. Picture this scenario. You're texting a green and she takes 4 hours to respond. Your instinct might be to match her energy and wait 4 hours, or to call it out playfully, or to pull back completely. All wrong moves. A green isn't playing games. She's just living her life. She'll respond when she responds. So you just keep being consistent. You text her when you feel like it. You don't punish her for her pace. You don't try to speed her up. You just exist in her world without needing her to exist in yours every second. And that's what makes a green actually start thinking about you. But here's the part that messes with guys. Greens don't show interest the way other types do. A red will chase you back. A blue will open up emotionally. A yellow will light up when she sees you. A green, she'll just keep showing up. That's it. She'll say yes to hanging out. She'll respond to your texts. She'll be there. And guys misread that as lukewarm interest, so they push harder to get a reaction. They try to create tension or drama or some kind of emotional spike to prove she actually cares. Therefore, they ruin it, because a green doesn't do emotional spikes. She does steady investment, and the second you make her world chaotic, she's out. So how do you actually build attraction with a green? You make her life better in small, consistent ways. You're not trying to be her everything. You're just becoming a pleasant addition to her routine. You notice she likes coffee a certain way and you remember it. You don't push her to go out when she's tired. You suggest things that match her energy instead of trying to pull her into yours. And over time, she starts associating you with comfort instead of stress. That's when a green locks in. Not because you excited her, because you didn't exhaust her. But here's where this gets practical. You need to be able to spot which color she is fast, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So let me give you the tells. Watch how she moves. A red makes decisions quickly. She'll pick a drink without looking at the menu twice. She'll end conversations when she's done. No slow fade. A blue takes her time. She'll ask clarifying questions. She'll pause before answering. She processes internally before she speaks. A yellow fills space. She talks with her hands. She pulls other people into conversations. She's aware of the room's energy and she's constantly adjusting to it. A green stays neutral. She's comfortable with silence. She doesn't rush to fill gaps. She observes more than she performs. But the fastest way to spot her color? Ask yourself how she makes you feel in the first 2 minutes. If you feel like you need to keep up, she's a red. If you feel like you need to slow down and be present, she's a blue. If you feel energized and social, she's a yellow. If you feel relaxed and like the pressure's off, she's a green. Your nervous system will tell you before your brain does. You just have to pay attention. But here's the twist nobody talks about, and you can't fake this. If you're naturally high energy and you try to slow down for a blue, she'll feel the mismatch. If you're naturally calm and you try to amp up for a red, you'll come across as try hard. So the real skill isn't changing who you are, it's knowing which types you naturally vibe with and which ones take work. Some guys are built for reds, some guys connect better with blues, and that's fine. You don't need to be perfect with every type. You just need to recognize when you're mismatched so you don't waste time on a connection that requires you to be someone you're not. But let's say you meet someone who's your type and you want to make sure you don't mess it up. Here's the one thing that works across all 4 colors: calibration. You start with your natural approach and then you watch how she responds. If she's leaning in, keep going. If she's pulling back, adjust. Don't double down on what's not working. A red will tell you with her words if you're boring her. A blue will tell you with her body language if you're moving too fast. A yellow will tell you with her energy if you're killing the vibe. A green will just stop responding if you're too much, so you listen, not to what you want to hear, but to what's actually happening. And this is the part where most guys lie to themselves. They'll keep pushing the same approach because it worked once on someone else, and they convince themselves it will work again if they just commit harder. But that's insane. You wouldn't speak Spanish louder to someone who only understands French and expect them to suddenly get it. So why would you use the same energy on every woman and expect different results? You wouldn't, unless you didn't know there were different types, but now you do. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing these patterns everywhere. The girl who ghosts you after a great first date, probably a blue who needed more depth and got surface level energy instead. The one who seemed interested but never followed through, likely a green who felt rushed. The one who called you boring even though you thought the conversation was going well. Red who needed more challenge. You weren't doing anything wrong. You were just speaking the wrong language. But here's what makes this even more powerful. Once you know your own type, you can predict exactly where you'll struggle. If you're a natural blue, thoughtful, slower paced, emotionally present, you'll do great with other blues and greens, but reds will exhaust you. They'll feel like too much work. Yellows will feel chaotic, and that's useful information because now you know you're not bad with women. You're just trying to connect with types that don't match your operating system. So you can either get better at speaking their language, or you can focus on the types where connection happens naturally. And that's the real skill. You're not trying to manipulate anyone. You're not running some pickup artist script. You're just learning to recognize how different people receive connection and adapting your delivery to match. It's the same thing you do at work when you talk to your boss differently than you talk to your coworkers. It's the same thing you do with friends when you know one friend needs directness and another needs softness. You're already doing this in every other area of your life. You just haven't applied it to women yet. But here's the part most guys won't do. They'll watch this video, recognize the types, maybe even spot a few patterns in their past interactions, and then they'll do nothing with it. They'll go right back to using the same approach on every woman they meet because changing behavior feels uncomfortable. But let me ask you something. How's that working for you? If your current approach was getting you the results you wanted, you wouldn't be here. So try this. Next time you talk to a woman, spend the first 60 seconds just observing. Don't perform. Don't try to impress her. Just watch how she moves, how she speaks, how she fills space. Ask yourself which type she is, and then adjust. See what happens. But if you want to go deeper on reading what women are actually thinking, not what they say, but what they mean, I wrote an entire book on it. It's called The Truth Detector. It covers how to spot when she's genuinely interested versus when she's just being polite, when she's testing you versus when she's actually pulling away, and how to stop getting played by women who know exactly how to manipulate these dynamics. It's the first link in the description. But whether you grab it or not, just start paying attention to types. That alone will change how you show up. But if you found this video valuable, then you'll love this one too. So click here to watch this video next, and I'll see you there.